Hi, I'm Jim Wright of Wright Insurance Agency. I offer business, commercial, and workers' compensation insurance. I've been in the business for 31 years, kind of raised in the Western New York area, a couple hours from here. But right out of school, I pretty much got into math and engineering. And to keep up with my math, I kind of fell naturally into the insurance area, doing some exam type work in terms of an actuary. But at the same time, I was working in a sales insurance office. And with that being said, here I am today, working in Western New York, helping all my clients. I'm licensed to sell in New York State only. And whenever people have questions on the products of insurance, property, and liability, we are accessible with my two offices in Alexandria, New York, and Williamsville. And what I'd like to show you is just a little intro of kind of a claim that did happen. And with the help of my friend Dan Bauer of SERVPRO, we've got a video to show you. Thank you.
All right, my name's Dan Bauer. I'm with SERVPRO of Southtowns, SERVPRO of West Seneca, Lancaster. Here with me today, we have Tina Coppins, property manager here at Appletree Business Park, and Jim Wright of Wright Insurance. How you guys doing today?
Great.
We are here, we're talking about a loss that happened here, a water loss last March 2019. That was over at Empire State College, one of the tenants here. Somebody left a sink on overnight that flooded a 2,000 square foot space. Tina, can you kind of tell me a little bit more about what happened?
Sure. So it was a Sunday afternoon. The cleaner came in and walked into water on the floor. Immediately called my guard. My guard turned around and called me. I called my maintenance guy. Within 20 minutes from that phone call, I had my maintenance guy here and got the water shut off. From there, what it ended up being is underneath the sink, a pipe blew apart. I'm not sure how it came apart, but it came apart. And somebody left the sink on, and it just flooded the space. From there, meanwhile, while my maintenance guy was on his way here, what I did was I called the cleaning company, and I asked them if they could get their truck mounts out here. Meanwhile, they said, yeah, we can be there within a half an hour. Then my second step was I called SERVPRO because I have an ERP with you guys, and I know you guys do great on water cleanups. And so what I did was I called your office, and they said it was within an hour. They had a whole team here, and then once the team got here, what we did was the team got here, and then we backed off our cleaning company. We told them once SERVPRO gets here, you guys are done, and that's exactly what happened. They left. My maintenance guy stayed and got the place cleaned up.
And as what was going through your head? You're the property manager, but there is a tenant. Mm-hmm. How do those responsibilities differ? When did you decide to get involved?
So what happened was I called, meanwhile, as I was talking to the cleaning company, my contact Jane showed up, because she doesn't live that far from the building. Mm-hmm. I'm about 50 minutes away from the building. So when she got in, I talked to her and I said, Jane, do you want me to call in the next step and get this going? And she said, absolutely, I don't care if you call me, you think Tina can do the job. I said, SERVPRO. She was totally on board with it. And then that's when you guys came in. My maintenance guys, meanwhile, my one maintenance guy, I should say, was ripping off all of the base coat while everybody was setting up. And we got, to get the air dryers, we got it. So we actually mitigated the loss, I think, by us reacting quick, getting another truck mount here, getting the truck mounts here first, and then
Yeah, and I think you guys did a great job with that rapid response, which can save you a ton of money, a ton of headaches.
Sure.
Able to stop the damage as it's happening.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Jim, as an insurance agent, how would you say, if Tina were one of your clients, she called and said this is happening, how would you respond? What advice would you give her?
Well, the biggest thing is us to get on the same page in terms of communication, really trying to get a handle on how much damage was actually done. And then for me to actually be able to go back, refer to the policy, and find out what players need to be brought in, like a SERVPRO, an excellent choice of helping out to mitigate the loss like you guys did. But you guys took a lot of proactive steps yourself, which is necessary. So with that being said, probably just the initial part of that claim and trying to get the players in place. And with a lot of the insurance companies I work with, this would be kind of an emergency response just because of the amount in the large area with the number of tenants involved. coming into play, we would be able to get a hold of them immediately, and they would be able to bring out somebody immediately as well.
And say you had a crystal ball, and you know this sort of loss is going to happen to somebody, a commercial property manager. What sort of coverages should they have in place? What sort of preparation should they make just in case something there is a disaster?
Yeah. Well, one thing that we kind of do to kind of get ahead of the situation would be try to periodically meet with our clients, at least once a year, try to review the main points of the policy. And the big main points of the policy are there's certain levels of an insurance policy. There's kind of a broad, basic, and a special coverage. And that will kind of determine how much coverage that you do have. And then when we're actually paying out monies, there's actual cash value, and then there is replacement cost. The replacement cost says this: it just says we're going to pay today's material costs as well as labor costs to get something going. The actual cash value, if you're subject to that, you might be getting hit up with depreciation, and in the long run, you're only going to be paid for part of the claim, and that's not going to make anything happen.
Well, Tina, I imagine you have certain insurance requirements for your tenants here.
Yes.
Can you walk me through, what are those and why are those important to you?
So our tenants, when they sign a lease, they have to have a certain level of insurance for liability. They have to have their workman's comp. They have to have theft and damages. So we have thresholds for them, and they all have to meet it. So every tenant has, we have on file their insurance policy, or their certificate, I should say, that names us as the additional insurer.
And kind of similar question for you. What are those important features or important considerations when a commercial property manager has tenants? They're thinking about insurance requirements. What do you ask them to think about?
Yeah, well, I think Tina is doing all the right things here. Basically, they want to see, they want to see the amount of coverages. If there's some limits of liability that you want them to meet, according to your contract with them, as well as I touched on replacement costs, some of those features. Some of those features actually can be dictated in the certificate of insurance. But one step that I'm asking my clients to do is of late is not only have the certificate of insurance, but actually make the tenant, in your case, go back to their insurance company and have them formally listed so you get a copy of the policy. Not only will you get a copy of the policy showing the importance of coverages, but you'll also be notified if there was any accidental or intentional cancellation of the policy, because you don't want to find that you're going to be responsible for all damages because there's only one policy in place. You want your tenants to be responsible for what they signed up for, and then you can take care of the rest.
Well, anything else that you want to cover, Tina? Anything?
No, I just think that the importance is having your ERP in place, so you know a list of where everything's at, who you need to call, like who's your electrician, who's your sprinkler, who's your plumber, who's your general contractor. So when something happens, you're ready to go. You got it in one place, and you guys have helped me get my ERP together, which is huge. It's in my office, and that's where it sits up there. So if it's a weekend or it's midnights or it's afternoons after I leave at 5 o'clock, somebody can grab it. My security guard, with a security guard here 24/7, he could grab it. Or if my maintenance guy, if I call him and I'm like, hey, we have this going on, he comes into the office. There's a print up there, and then I have my folder with the ERP in there. He could pull it and say, okay, this is what I need to call. Because in the time of panic, what do you forget? You forget. Who should I call? Who do I need to call? You totally forget. So it's always good to have it at your fingertips.
Yeah, that's great to hear. I'm glad we could help. Do you have any closing remarks?
Yeah, well, Tina does a great job here with emergency response plan, because usually we're asking her who would she like to use. I think SERVPRO is a great example of they've got all the players in place, so they've seen it all, they've done it all, so they know what to do. But having that plan in place, I, as the insurance representative, have to go back and ask her who she wants to work with. If those decisions are already made in that quick time instant, I should say, emergency, it just makes the whole claim a lot smoother.
Awesome. Thank you both. I'm Dan Bauer, SERVPRO of the Southtowns, SERVPRO of West Seneca, Lancaster. Tina Coppins, property manager here at the beautiful Appletree Business Park in Cheektowaga, and Jim Wright of Wright Insurance. Thank you both for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.